Well, hello, absolutely everyone out there who are listening, watching, or have stumbled upon Sit in It with myself, Tracy A. Martin. This is season 2, and we're going to give it a little bit more of a colorful place to be in, to sit in season 2 here. The last season, everyone would put their questions in, whether they wanted it anonymous or they were open to be who they were. And we would have the discussion for you to contemplate and sit in around certain questions, contemplations. This year, this season, I'm really wanting to showcase more into actually seeing other people's faces, because the 5D world is all about being vulnerable, being raw, authentic, us, because that's how the new world, the new earth, Gaia, is being created, is through this beautiful support of being able to be there for each other and showcase that absolutely everybody is important, instead of looking outside of ourselves in that old false 3D world of who you believed you needed to be, instead of just getting to be who you are, and why you're now guided because of every color of what you are, whatever you've stepped and walked and been in, of where you are now and where it's unfolding for you. So in this brand new episode, season 1, we're going to be sitting and talking with two beautiful souls that I've gotten to have such a great experience in having relationships with. I would like to introduce Lori. Lori, would you like to say hello to your audience and everyone listening or watching today?
Hello. I'm happy to be here. This is exciting.
Wonderful. And our other lady is Megan. Would you love to say hi to everyone as well?
Hi.
So both these ladies are a little nervous today. Most people are used to questions that they're going to be given ahead of time. And so that's not how I roll, because being vulnerable, being raw, being open, I know that whatever comes from our heart that comes through in the discussion today is what's going to be on purpose. And so, without further ado, what I want to start asking is, Lori, we're going to start with you. And what I want to start with is, tell me a quick sum up in your heart of who you are and what you believe you're here on purpose to serve yourself for in this lifetime.
Oh, sure. Start small. Give us an easy one off the top. That's actually a question it. It's occupied my mind since I was a young girl, and like millions of other people on the planet, trauma drives you to consider every moment, every decision, every action, every why. And um, I'm here to uplift. I'm here to serve in a capacity that allows me to feel creative, to pump those creative juices. That's something that I absolutely need to do, whether it's a blank screen or somebody says, let's make this, I'm all over it. My time on the planet has felt like being in waiting up until February of 2020. And when they announced the virus, I knew then that that was it. This is it. This is why we're here. And the momentum that has built in the past 4 years has been stunning. And I am excited to be here to help in any capacity I can evolve into a love-based planet. That's what we're here to be. That's what we're here to do. I'm a child of the 60s and I'm ready to rock. I mean, this is it. I'm so excited. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Lori. You know that you have a plethora of experiences that you've had. You have touched so many people in what we would call in the old 3D world, we would call it healing modalities. We realize now that's such a limited thought process, because anyone who calls themselves a healer is then dependent on believing people are broken and need to be healed. And that's one thing that I've loved about seeing you in where you have been in all these modalities and realizing there's something beyond this now, that it's more expansive. And we know love is so expansive and so omnipotent. And so, what was it that most people have this one defining moment that really made you go, I'm done with this part. I'm ready for the next.
One moment.
Some people have one defining moment that was just like, yeah, I realize this is done and I'm ready for something else or something more or
I think there were stepping stones for me. When I was 18 in Ontario, I had a honest to God an epiphany as I was walking across the stage, to accept your certificate for graduation. In the blink of a breath, I changed my mind from going to Ryerson University for a psychology degree. Unbeknownst to my future roommate, I ended up walking off the stage having announced that I was going to get on a plane and fly to Alberta. And that thought had not solidified until I shook the principal's hand. When I met my husband, that was 40 years ago now, I put my hand on his shoulder and knew that we were meant to be. That was a reason I flew to Alberta. And then there was a moment, and I don't know, it's not defined by anything in particular, but this would be the one. I decided I didn't want a 3D job anymore. And I was in my early 20s, maybe mid. I had one baby, and I was not going to give up time with my baby to go back to work. I wasn't going to do it. And I remember marching out in the middle of a snowstorm out into the front yard, and it was cold Alberta winter. And I yelled at the sky saying something like, I demand that my livelihood match my spiritual well-being and evolution. And I walked back into the house. And the next day I quit my job. And within 2 weeks, I started studying some of those modalities you mentioned. And within 2 years, we'd opened up a practice. It was, when your soul calls, you can't say no. That's the thing. And so those stepping stones may seem small, but they're mountains and they're wonderful.
and you're here now.
Oh yeah.
I'm very glad that you're here. I'm glad you moved to Alberta because all of us here have gotten to have a chance to actually meet you.
Thank you.
Megan. Megan, we have the question to ask you. Who are you and why do you believe you're here?
Who am I? Thank you for starting me off with this nice question. Who am I and why am I here? I am here. I have learned through, all the knowledge and stuff that I've learned that I am here as a protector for Sophia. I told her that I would not leave her. And so I've been here in multiple lives, not knowing who I was or what I was doing here, just knowing that I had to be here. And I guess I'm here to show people or let them see that this is me, this is my story, and that they're not alone, that everybody has their own thing, but we are all connected some way. And it's just nice to know that there's other people going through their experience. And, mine was...
As a protector, do you realize that has been a part of who you are? Or do you believe the warrior part of you that many of us have seen in you, especially in meditations? Was there a defining moment in your life where instead of being a warrior for others, you had to be a warrior for yourself and choose life?
I don't remember it. It was a lot that I was told. It was after my daughter was born, and I got sick, and I I chose to fight for me and to be there for my baby. And so I chose life. I had multiple times where I could have left in that small time span that I was in the hospital. And I chose to be there for my children. And I found out later that there was a connection between me and Sadie. We've been together on multiple lives, and that the scars that I have are I had saved her in another life. I had literally blown myself up to save the children. So Sadie and I, we've been together multiple times, and this time we got to be together.
And isn't that glorious?
It is.
And because of who you are and the amount of strength and determination that all of us have seen, especially the plight after in the recovery process and having to look at like your physical body, your emotional, mental, spiritual state after going through the unbelievable amounts of what you went through that most people never would have survived through. That determination and that resilience, that's what I personally see in you, is that resilience. And where did it take you from there? Was there things that you believed you had to do in order to prove yourself to yourself again?
Sorry.
Were there
Go ahead, sorry.
Was there things that you believed you had to do to try to prove yourself to yourself again? We know that looking in the mirror was very hard for you to see, looking at the physical appearance of certain things because of surgeries and the feeling of lack in so many places. And the reason I want you to share this story here is because many women are going through this, Megan. And so by you being that beautiful leader to guide people to know everything that you went into in depths to be able to get back to deciding who you are.
I started running. Found out that I was trying to run away from things. And then the running turned into triathlons because, one sport just isn't good enough. So I decided to do 3. I threw myself into that wholeheartedly, where I wasn't, when I look back, I don't think I was a very good mom because I chose to train, every day of the week instead of being there for my kids. And I punished myself for what I ate because I didn't think that it was good for me. So when I'd have a treat or whatever, then I would go and punish myself on the treadmill or on the bike, not knowing what I was doing. I had no clue. And it took me, I think I did that for 6 years, doing that. And finally, my body, I decided to listen to my body, and I was tired. I was extremely tired, and my body was rejecting everything I was doing, and I was gaining weight for the amount of training I was doing. It was doing nothing for me, and it was making me frustrated. And then the anger started to set in, but I wasn't angry at anybody, but that's who got it. And then I found, I chose to do the 8-week course, and I went through that, and that opened up so much that I saw I learned that I was punishing myself because I didn't think that I looked like everybody else did. So it has taken me, I think, 6 years to actually enjoy working out. It's just nice little short workouts I do just at home when I feel like it, and learning that this is just me. Either you like me or you don't. And I've learned to love me, to learn to like that I was a warrior. I still am a warrior, but I don't have to fight anymore. I can just be a warrior for love, and still working at the anger thing, but knowing that it's not at anyone in general, it's usually with me.
And that's huge. Thank you so much, Megan, for speaking, because it takes a lot. A lot of people don't like to speak about where they were. And we know that there's only the reason to look back is to see how far we've come, because we don't want to live in yesterday. But everyone here knows that there's something that they are grasping at to have some form of likeness with, so that you don't feel so alone. And right now, with what's going on with all the energies, that place of no thing or having no ambition or motivation or whatever, is because everything is so snafu right now, which is fantastic, because that's where you actually get to know yourself and decide who you want to be. And you get everyone here that I'm meeting on so many levels. The reason why such great things are happening for so many people now is because they're allowing it, because they're allowing themselves to be that idea of love and give to others that idea of love. Lori and Megan, how did the two of you meet?
Megan's mom is one of my best friends. And what seems like several lifetimes ago, when Megan's youngest sister was 2, my middle child was the same age. And Margot and I met over a conversation about the hot lunch program at the school, and we became fast friends, and that was it. I watched Megan grow up with her siblings, and she showed her warrior at a pretty young age. There was an incident when she was in school. I don't know, you were in probably grade 4 or 5, maybe 6. And the weather was cold and they were practicing baseball inside, and somebody swung a bat and Megan's mouth was in the way. And I remember Andy, your dad, coming to take you to the hospital, and boy, you were a tough cracker even then, man. There was nothing that would got by you. Yeah, you've impressed me your whole life. And the incident that you're talking about going, you make it sound like it was just a little blip in your life. And Tracy's not joking when she says that was life changing. And there are many of us, myself included, who would have been very easily crippled by the experience you went through. So I've been pretty proud to see you grow.
Thank you. And we don't realize what it looks like to other people. And we know, many of us that saw what was going on for Megan, I think the hardest thing, and any of you that have been out there, especially when you watch your children fall, or they're making choices and you realize, I have to step away because this is theirs to sit in. And it's always harder for many of us because we feel helpless. And that's where what we used to call healing modalities, instead of realizing it's love and these frequencies of love, that so many people cocooned Megan like you wouldn't believe, and she took it and allowed that transmutation and to happen And when we say on so many levels, because Megan, what's so grateful about her, she has so much gratitude in that true idea of what humbleness is, a true warrior, where she's such a hero because she chose life. And we see it in, especially now, when she's finally decided to raise that torch for herself and to realize that nothing holds her back. Her determination is amazing. And what's so great is the fact that the both of you have come to this perfect point, and you can be in someone's life your whole life. And we're so stuck in oblivion of the 3D world, having no idea we're soul family. And that's why it feels so good to be in the presence of each person and knowing I've known you for millions of years. I'm so glad to finally see you in this avatar now, because our souls know each other. And so that's what's so great, is knowing, even though Margot and Lori are best friends, to know that you don't realize some of the other soul family that's been there the whole time. And we never have a clue where our destined ideas or grandest timelines are on until we choose and create at the same time, and then all this brand newness happens to us for jump onto.
If
And
I
so
could, can I jump in for a second?
you sure can.
It's always been one of my greatest pleasures that you've reached out to me and asked me questions like a daughter would ask a mom about things that I like. Like, I know you never have to ask me about baking because your grandma and mom have that all wrapped up. But like, I've always been into the weird and wacky stuff. So, things like energy and Reiki and herbs. And that it was those conversations that really kind of started things off. It was, yeah, it was great. Anyways, I've always loved that. It's been a joy.
So where are the newest adventure that you guys are onto right now is what I'd like to put a face and names to, because many women, it doesn't matter what age you are, especially because of the type of diet systems that are out there and the amount of food homicide that's happening on so many levels, that so many women and men are suffering from so much hormone imbalance, which just has taken the male out of the man and has taken the feminine out of the beautiful woman. And so what's really cool was I'd had insight, and all of a sudden, and it's only when I'm usually with people that all of a sudden I'll see within their auric bands and their fields of these potentials or timelines, and it was like, oh my God, I see the two of you, and because of the expertise, the love that you both have, and your ideas and frequencies of why this is going to be such an amazing thing. And so we're going to introduce to you the newest wonderful venture and adventure that Megan and Lori are on. And I don't know if any of you have heard of so far, any of you listening, but Yam Bam Hormone Balancing Cream is their newest wonderful product that I can vouch heavily for. And so if you guys would like to take it away a bit and both let us know how it came into the makings and where it's growing to right now and where you see and would love to see it get to.
You start, Meg. You go ahead.
Okay.
Well, how do you think you can start it?
So I started. I talked to Lori, and then I talked to her daughter Kristen, and she had gone to school to be a practical herbologist through Wild Rose, which is in the BC, and that really resonated with me. So I signed up, and I like the fact that it's just nature. It's natural. There's nothing extra in it. So we found that there was a calling for, this wild yam, which was kind of going all around TikTok, and I seen it a few times, but the amount of people that were very interested in it. So I like doing that stuff. I like making that stuff, and I know that I can. So, and then I thought, well, why don't we see if Lori can do it? We just we switch each other's houses, and we just have fun figuring stuff out, having a good laugh. And so it's really surprised me at how big this could actually be if that's what we want. I didn't realize this many people would be interested in it. And I like that we do it in small batches, that we get good product. We're not big, so you have to order more, but we've figured it out and buy our supplies, and still want people to tell us how it is, and if there's something that needs to be fixed, then we can fix it.
And what do you mean by that, Megan, for your listeners right now?
If there's a certain product for the supplies that we bought that isn't jiving with the rest of the ingredients, then we can find a different producer for it. I don't know if that's the right word. Sorry.
No, that's right. That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Your turn.
My turn. I've always putzed with herbs and salves. I've done that for ever and ever. And in the past 4 or 5 years, Kristen, my daughter, and I started growing herbs, and we have a giant herb garden now. And so I started drying them, and then I didn't know what to do with them because I just had a cupboard full of dried herbs. And I was using them for tea and making oils. And so something happened. Somebody got a rash. Oh, it was wasp stings. And so I made a salve, and then it turned into another one. And then somebody gave me a comfrey plant, and it was taking over my garden. So I made comfrey salve for bone set, and they worked. And it solidified in me. There was like this clunk in me that went, that's the way we're supposed to be doing things. That's the way we're supposed to be healing. And we've done it here all the time. Mom's concoction. I've been making it forever. But like Megan, the idea that there were so many women who not only were suffering from hormones, because I've been doing that for close to 15 years now, but were interested in a natural solution, that was a real surprise to me. I've talked to many, many women in my practice who actually go on HRT, hormone replacement therapy. I've been on it myself. It's horrendous and it's expensive. And the side effects are truly something we need to pay attention to. I did a little bit of research before we started making this Yam Bam cream. Love the name. And did you know that the first birth control pill was made out of wild yam? That was the very first ingredient that they considered when they were making contraceptives for women. What happened was extorted the medicinal value and then changed how they used it in operation for contraception. But in my research, what I discovered is that our progesterone, of course, is the hormone we have to make sure we're watching out for. And the progesterone is what the wild yam balances. So once that progesterone is balanced, then the estrogen and the testosterone follow suit. What I've noticed in me using that is what's different from the hormone replacement therapy is there was an imbalance in the testosterone. You can't control, like if you're taking testosterone, the testosterone's going to go up. And so with the wild yam cream, when it balances the progesterone, that is what helps balance the testosterone and balance the estrogen, instead of continuing to feed the body the hormones that it doesn't necessarily need. And without the proper testing at the beginning, HRT is a scary thing, in my personal opinion, from my own experience. So it was a blessing and a boon, and I was ready to jump in when I don't even know who suggested it. I'm pretty sure it was you, Tracy, that suggested that we combine efforts and go ahead and make the yam cream. And it worked right off the bat. And that was a sign. I mean, that was a sign we had to do.
Absolutely, and I'm very grateful. And they used me as a test subject as well,
Yeah.
because I knew what it was going to do. Because myself as well, I'm perimenopausal and going through ascension symptoms at the same time, so you don't know which one is which hitting you. It doesn't matter what age, people are feeling a lot of these things. And so when I'd seen it within their thing and saw the energy around it and knew why it worked, especially with these ingredients, with the Vitex chasteberry, which is an ancient, especially through Ayurvedic worlds, that has been the first thing that has helped. And as a hypnotherapist practitioner, and any of my clients with endometriosis that had any kind of cervical stuff, that had fertility issues, that couldn't hold on to babies, that all of that, of what the energy of Vitex does, is because this has become such a high estrogen state, especially so many people that were indoctrinated into eating chicken and turkey instead of actually beef. And bird naturally creates estrogen on its own. And that's why on this whole Western front, that estrogen-fed cancers are huge on the rise. And so the moment that people realized the progesterone part that has played, I have had so many of my clients that are not only pregnant and had babies and no longer were having miscarriages, because they perfectly have kept that out on purpose. And with these two products that are in this, with the wild yam and the chasteberry alone, we know love simply is. We know that natural balance is such a simple thing, and they try to completely distort it and mutilate it. And I have so many clients that I've had in my chair that have had HRT, and it's not human. It is not earth. It's synthetic. And whether it ended up where they ended up with severe mental psychosis and ended up in mental institutions because of their thyroid and every other gland completely being disrupted, the cancers, I can't tell you the amount of awful symptoms that have happened that are very life-threatening and have changed their lives forever, especially with weight gain, all these things. And then they put you on to the next prescription and then the next prescription, so that they do nothing but make money off of you. We know women have been oppressed a long time. We know the goddess, the feminine, divine feminine, has been oppressed a long time. We know that the reason Lori and Megan are now coming out and not going to be burned at the stake for witchcraft, because they understand how plants are medicine and amazing as the connection that we are to all plants, everything as well. And to hear from other people, knowing that it's something so simple, to be able to put just a pea size of the cream on a soft part of your body twice a day. And some, like Gloria said, she had to start off 3 times a day with some of her stuff. And to all of a sudden know that each person that I've talked with had suddenly, it was like one day where you suddenly realize, I got to wear my jammies to bed tonight. I woke up without a hot sweat. The mood swings, this calmness. Some of my clients that are like, oh my God, I have not dreamt in 20 years and I'm dreaming, she said. And her children have come to me saying, why didn't you tell her about this salve 20 years ago? It's like, and that's the great thing about this. We know Like Lori has been around a long enough time to have these experiences as well, and that's not old. It's wisdom to know that wild yam cream was out a long time ago,
Yeah.
and the moment Big Pharma realized they could not profit off of it, they do smear campaigns, and that's where they brought in HRT, synthetics, and all of these things so that they could make money and create a plethora of more money. And there's we need to realize there's not a perfect fit for everyone. And for each woman, depending on what they've gone through, what kind of deficiencies are going on within them, and the amount of anger that's finally coming through in this brand new rebirth that's happening, that they call it as menopause, but many of us in the feminine goddess world see it as this rebirth, where we know we don't have to be the nurturing mother anymore, but we get to just really nurture and create from a different space. All of those layers of losses and angers and griefs that we've held on to in that birthing process comes up to purge. And that's why so many men are scared of women that are perimenopausal or menopausal, because the zero fox is there, because they're finally at a stage in their life where they've realized the new self, that we don't have to be anything to anyone but ourselves. Would you like to weigh in on that, both of you ladies?
I will. You're right about life experience and wisdom, which comes from age. I don't have an issue with aging. I've always known, my mom was a nurse in the emergency room in a maternity ward, and she lived a life of contradiction. She knew that medicine was what was paying her bills, and that was her calling. And yet, the way that she helped us heal as children at home was always natural. She didn't use the same medicine from the hospital that she did. She refused the things that would normally be prescribed to a pregnant woman, including thalidomide at the time, and decided not to go along with mainstream. And so that was built into my genes. I went into extreme menopause after surgery when I had an ovary removed. And one of the things that angered me the most was the ignorant lack of information that's available to women about what's going to happen to you when they make those drastic changes to your body. Followed up by a ludicrous statement from the surgeon that said, "Oh, you're going to be back for the other one, so I might as well take it out now." And I said, "Don't touch anything that isn't supposed to come out." And I knew then from all the practice that I'd done that everything, of course, that we need to heal at a physical level happens in a different realm. We deal with it in an emotional, spiritual realm, and so we can heal that. And when it comes to natural treatments versus pharmaceutical treatments, our bodies absorb the nature because it's made of the same energy we are. It's cellularly the same as we are. Anything that's man-made, like you said, has its naturalness stripped of it, and it's given a chemical compound that we can't absorb. I know that part of my purpose here is to help people remember that their connection to themselves is the same and can be found through a connection to plants, through a connection to animals, through a connection to nature. And our ability to know who we are comes from relying on that connection. And a big part of our population has zero understanding of what that means. And so if it's just a yam cream that can help women understand how their hormones work and heal that, and if that's what the next step is for me, then I'm willing to walk into that, because I'm here to help wake people up. And if it means getting them off the pharmaceutical track, hallelujah, I'll take that.
Cheers to you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I have, some wonderful clients that I have that are doctors that have actually stopped practicing because of all the damage that finally is coming to the forefront, because we know all truth is finally being revealed. And not one of them would go to a hospital unless in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see them die in a hospital. You do not see many of the things that have happened, especially how they wouldn't even let their own wives be on birth control, anything like that, because they have signed an oath to the devil that they are there to be a glorified drug dealer for Big Pharma instead of actually what they want to do. And some of the greatest, most awakened doctors that have that had that original background and realized the indoctrination is so severe that we're able to look at the real whole approach of what everyone else has termed alternative medicine, which is the first whole medicine, and that medical medicine is actually the alternative derived from pieces and parts and compounds. So when they realize that, and that's what's starting to take the world by storm, and that's probably what makes me smile the most in this consciousness of this brand new society coming through, where it's full disclosure and it's using discernment and our critical thinking skills to get back inside to know what is whole and feels right.
This isn't new. We could quote Hippocrates forever. So do I call it waking up, or do I call it finally giving ourselves permission to remember? This isn't, I know that old saying, this isn't our first rodeo. Like, and I'm grateful to be a part of this. I really am. This is the time.
Absolutely, and the time is now. And look, it's happening. You guys had no idea that many women, and that's why I was saying, you got to get this out here, because I see in so many people's energies, and the goddess is not interested in being in harm's way any longer. She wants to be whole, and if we can get these beautiful souls that are starting to create together to bring us something that's phenomenal, especially from a price point that is amazing, because I had been on many different types of supplements, herbal supplements, that were, between $150 to $300 a month. Whereas this, what's so amazing with this, it lasted way over 2 months for $60. My God, I would pay that a week. And a lot of women would, because we want to feel whole again. And that's one of the greatest things that I'm so grateful for both of you, for the time that it takes for you guys to do this. And what's so amazing is each ingredient, the way that Megan and Lori have sourced them to find out of what it needs to be. Lori, talking about how many weeks it takes to create the proper tincture, because in tincture form we know that's the easiest that ingests into our body the proper use way. So when I tell you, these ladies are like, their heads are together, their hearts are together, and they're creating this amazing product, and why they do it in small batches is because it's homemade and it's meant from the heart on purpose. And that's probably why many of us are so magnetically attracted to it, because we feel the footprint, that soul print around it. So I thank you, ladies, so much. What would you like to say for people to understand and please give your email and the name of the Facebook page that you have, so that all these women and men as well can reach out. Because, for instance, you guys all know me enough to know I'm a research junkie, because I love it and I like going down these rabbit holes. And so just last week, I had sent a thing to Lori, because she's the same, where she just loves to research everything to go even deeper into more aspects, not just for women, but for all of us as a whole. When we say wild yam cream or wild yam root, when you research deep into what an adaptogenic herb is, or a product is, adaptogenic means it is able not only to go into the body and see the instability, it's more like a harmonizing agent. And we have primary adaptogens and we have secondary adaptogens. And wild yam is a primary adaptogen. And what that means is that an adaptogenic wild yam, what it does is if the testosterone is too high, it will lower it. If it is too low, it will higher it. It will do the same with estrogen. And that's what's so amazing, because it's a primary adaptogen. And so when you find out why, and that's just one of the things is hormone balance, we realize you go deeper and deeper into the whys. And we know to a cellular level, what is it that starts emanating from a cellular level that then starts making that clock miss and misfire, and why. And so diosgenin is a chemical that had come up, and so I had sent it to Lori to find out, let's go down this rabbit hole deeper. And her and I both like to be on PubMed, because that's where a lot of the papers have been done through funding and stuff for them to actually do a lot of this research. What did you find with diosgenin that you were like, yeah, went even deeper in, Lori?
It's everywhere, and it's in almost everything. And it's a chemical that we need. It's in our body. It does a cajillion things, and it's one of the things that works. I mean, when you take a look at the components that are in the cream individually, each of them has its own makeup that is phenomenal all on its own, like you're saying, the chase tree berry and the yam. But the diosgenin is something we don't even think about. It's a chemical that we are surrounded by, we're fed all the time, and it's part of what helps to balance all of the hormones. It is the thing that they worked with when, I won't say the thing, one of the secondary things they were working with when they were developing the contraceptive, the birth control pill. So I actually am continuing to research. I'm just going to keep going, because every time I look it up, I actually was digging through Kristen's herb books last week going, what's in here now? There's something miraculous about, there's something like 235 or 335 different species of yam, and only 5 of those are edible. And out of those 5, only 2 of them have the right ingredients for what we're using. And diosgenin was one of the ones that had the highest in those 2. That's just one.
That's why it's simple yet so complex. And what an adaptogenic means is actually an activator. When I look into the energy of it, and many of us started activating through other products that we knew are on a micro level, so that they kick in and can get into the cell, shake hands, and say, hello, wake up, you forgot what you were doing. Because that's our air, our water, our food, our energetics from EMFs, everything around us on every level has been trying to turn us into these zombies. And so the moment that cell can wake back up and remember they are whole, perfect, and complete, that's how the body naturally is a miracle of itself. And that's what these adaptogenic, beautiful parts of nature are the actually awakeners, saying, hey, wake back up, you need to be doing this. Compared to what the big pharmaceuticals do is create this synthetic falsehood and want to hide the symptom and not bring back into balance what's going on. So that's why every one of you that are led from your heart that are on this call today, because you know that it's the remembering of all of your ancient blessings that have been a long time, and it had been suppressed and oppressed for so long. And so this is why I wanted to start this season off huge with both of you beautiful ladies, because this is where we're going. This is this brand new, beautiful, multi-dimensional orb that is expanding and creating heaven here now. And I'm not holding back any longer. And all these beautiful souls that are here today that know that determination, the integrity that they've had through absolutely all the things that have been going on this crazy shit show last 5 years, that makes me understand who is just standing true. And that's why I honor both of you, because I don't think you realize that you are modern day heroes. every one of you that's watching this right now, that is listening to this, that have that integrity, that are using discernment, that know that there's more of a bullshit meter out there, that you're realizing, I thank you and I commend you, because of you, that is why we're creating this brand new consciousness. And so when I tell you everyone has the right to be showcased and loved and put on that pedestal, it's because of how important you are. I hope you all realize how important you are, and that your frequency of love is needed so much right here, right now.
Thank you. There are 2 cautions for the cream I do want to make sure we get out there. The first one is, if you are on birth control, don't use it, because it's a contraindication, absolutely. And the second is if you still have your moon time or your flow, that you go 21 days and then go off of the cream when you have your cycle. Go back on when your cycle is complete. Those would be the only 2 cautions that I would have. Yeah. And you asked us to give our contact information.
Yes, please.
The email address where you can get in touch with us and to give us your name about getting on an email or on a waiting list is yambamcream@gmail.com. And our Facebook page is Yam Bam Hormone Balancing Cream is the name of the Facebook page. I should have made it shorter.
And we wanted it even longer because we loved Yam Bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Because we are thanking these ladies, because it is a life changer for so many of you. And I love that we have a network of beautiful soul family coming home, supporting each other. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, supporting local, I mean, our local star cluster. So it's not just county or town or province or country. I mean, the banding together of the goddess energy again, so that she can truly be that divine feminine, the queen of that queendom that she is. That's what this is all part of. Knowing that we've never needed to be genetically modified. That menopause was never ever supposed to happen. It has just been, and many of you will probably either agree with me or not, because some of you that are going through it, that are in denial, that believe they never ever went through it on any level, or that they, I had this, but I've never had mood swings, and then their other half will be like, this is happening. And the more that you are real and raw and you speak what's going on with you, you find out you're not alone. And that's why I don't want you hiding anymore. I want you to show up. You need to be that lighthouse bringing those ships in, because that's what brings that community and that unity back together. And that way you can have these discussions and there's no judgment there. It's just great appreciation, because that's what makes knowledge become your wisdom, is sitting in it, playing in it, right? I know that there's not one genetic modification that ever needed to be this beautiful human experience, because of the soul that we are. And we know that this war has been on a soul level to try to pull the soul from our whole embodiment. And so I just want to thank every one of you. Megan, what would you like to say to all of your audience today who are listening or watching?
Just thank you for knowing that, we are just doing this for love, and that you guys are giving us a chance, and I love it.
Thank you, Megan. Lori, what would you like to say to all this beautiful audience today?
Well, I could ditto Meg, but could I do that? Remember who you are. Remember that every step, every experience has been perfect, and your choice to make use of that is what allows you to live your life exactly the way you want it to be. You're love. That's all you are. And when we remember that, we get to rock.
Thank you, ladies, both. Thank you, ladies, so much. And we know everyone says, you're trying trying's a lie. You either are or you're not. You've always been love. You've just been in your own way, on purpose. You're here on purpose. You're not here for a purpose. You're here on purpose. The fact that you're here means you're important, or you wouldn't be here. So I love you all. I thank you all. I honor you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Sit in It.